Ultimately just create generational wealth. I want to be able to start a
Stop right
business.
there. How do you have wealth without the generations? Y'all want money, and money is just a tool. If I gave the money, you don't have the man of the generations.
We all remember how polarizing a figure Kevin Samuels was. There were those who mourned his passing, and there were those who celebrated it. But one thing that must be remembered is that he introduced a different framework into the Black relationship and the conversation about why there are so many Black single mothers in the Black community. When we see different kinds of outcomes in the Black community, it has previously been assumed that the reason why there are so many single Black mothers are because Black men are fundamentally bad. When Kevin Samuels introduced the fact that many of the people that are leaving are the women, and women are choosing to mate with certain types of men, creating certain outcomes, it changed the way that we looked at the situation fundamentally.
How is it that we are going through the same thing that our daddies went through when they were 22? In 2021, we're fighting the same battles that our predecessors fought.
This is a clip between a boy and his mother, and before Kevin Samuels, there would be a predetermined way that we would have been conditioned to look at it. But this time, try and look at this through your post-Kevin Samuels lens if you can.
What'd you say?
Do I have a dad?
Why you ask that?
I don't know, but do I have one?
Of course you do.
What's his name again?
His name is Tyrell.
Of all the talk about single mothers by choice and trying to do it on my own, and I can be now the term is a Rambo, where I can raise a child on my own and the child's going to be just fine. This is a child asking the name of his father.
Mom, does he know I'm really smart, or does he not?
I don't think he knows.
Why? Whenever since I tell him I'm really good.
What do you mean?
Tyrell,
What about?
like if I tell him I'm really good, he will trust us, I think.
Jakai, it's not about that. Sometimes adults, even though they're big people, like even though they're adults, they don't do the right thing all the time. And so some dads don't do the right thing, and some moms don't do the right thing.
Now notice the phrasing there where she says some dads don't do the right thing first, before she says some moms don't do the right thing. Now, this is a young boy trying to comprehend his situation. And so inherently, he's going to think one of two things. One, I did something wrong as a little boy and that I'm not lovable. And B, there's something wrong with my dad because he's not here.
Fucking amazing.
Oh, like
And as long as I'm doing the right thing, I'm gonna come to all your games and I'm gonna go to all your school stuff and all of that.
Yeah, but Mom,
Maybe.
some people only have a dad and some people only have a mom, but some people only have a dad and mom.
If we were looking at this with priest Kevin Samuels' eyes, and you heard a comment like, why any quote unquote man would want to miss out on this sweet, smart boy is beyond me. I love him. He's so sweet. Crying face. But we're not pre-Kevin Samuels. We're post-Kevin Samuels. And right off the bat, you can hear problematic language like sometimes fathers don't do the right thing, or I'm going to be here no matter what without, again, that's an omission as to why isn't his father here? The only thing that you hear in the conversation is that his father's not here and he's not doing something wrong, which leads us to this one problem. What happens when this boy grows up and meets his father and hears a different truth? Then everything he grew up thinking was the truth gets challenged. And this is one of the primary reasons why, as single mothers, it's extremely difficult to try and even dream about building generational wealth. First, you have to establish family and trust before you can establish anything like the principles necessary to build anything close to generational wealth.
Ultimately just create generational wealth. I want to be able to start
Stop
a
right
business.
there. How do you have wealth without the generations? Y'all want money, and money is just a tool. If I gave the money, you don't have the man of the generations. And with you, it ends. You don't need the millions, you need the man. But that's what so many women are preoccupied with. It's not money, it's a lifestyle. It's propaganda. You've been marketed to that this is what success looks like. What success looks like was your mama and daddy, your grandmama, and your great grandparents. 80% of our kids are born out of wedlock. You go out to a restaurant on the weekends, you see couples or families, you see Black, you see Hispanic, Middle Eastern, Asian, other folks, you see a balance of men and women and children. Pay attention when you see Black people out, women.
Yeah, women and kids. It's
generational wealth is the family.
The reality is when you start looking at kind of measurable differences in children in single parent homes and dual parent homes, oftentimes the distinction that people are speaking to, whether it's greater mental health challenges or academic challenges or things of this nature, it's not whether or not it's two parents or one parent, it's is there a change within the childhood household dynamic. So when you're talking about going from two parents to single parents or a divorce situation, that can often yield some of these detrimental outcomes that people are projecting onto single moms by choice.
We all know that Ebony K. Williams is a proponent for the upliftment of the Black community and raising the Black community's standard economically. But this, of course, assumes that there will be generational wealth built in the process. But how can you build generational wealth if you can't build strong families? Of course, it's implied that maybe we'll be the first group of people to be able to do that, but generational wealth can be evaporated in one generation. How do you explain to your children how to manage a relationship with money? How do you pass down money to a child who may fall in love with someone who wants to marry that person for their money and take it from them? These are all things that have to be displayed in a healthy relationship and principles taught along the way for it to work. Otherwise, you'll have an opportunity to get generational wealth and it'll become a train wreck. So what does it look like when a family is on the precipice of getting generational wealth, but you can see in an instant that that money has already gone because of dysfunction in the family? Well, it's something we get to see every year.
Great. So, Jacob, you're going to Florida.
If you read the mother's facial expression, she has a look of disgust. She is not happy with her son. And if you look at the son's body language, it suggests that he's worn out. He is dejected. On the biggest day of his young life, he chooses his college. His mother gets up and walks away from the table. And you cannot tell me someone in this position, top 40 ESPN, number 5 wide receiver in the year, this particular year, went from this situation to being an undrafted free agent, which of course possibly cost him millions of dollars. That this turmoil in his family situation did not contribute to the amount of money he lost by not having the emotional support of his family.
Jacob, you're going to Florida. Who just got up and left there and to your right? Who got up and left?
Oh, that was my mom.
And why did she walk out and leave?
I don't know exactly why she walked out, but yeah, I don't know.
When we have a surplus of single parent families as is, to have someone like Ebony K. Williams advocate for more of this on purpose it shows a level of folly in a situation that's just not going to work. This man who worked his whole high school career to have this one day is undermined by the emotions of his mother. And he is here trying to process that emotion while being asked questions from a reporter who's simply doing his job. How can you build financial stability? How can you pass on wealth in a situation, in a circumstance that's so powered by emotion and not by logic? if this gentleman doesn't take care of his money, and unfortunately he's going to have a lot less because of his draft position, then he might end up being with a woman who wants to be with him because he has money, child support, a child, alimony, divorce, and he is right back where he started from. Generational opportunity at wealth is over and is right back to where you started. And as we're acculturated, the blame goes everywhere except one particular direction. Gotta know the full story. The reporter questioning him about it in the moment is so inconsiderate. Why would the announcer just keep bringing it up? Goodness gracious. Why would the announcer embarrass him further? The fact that the interviewer proceeded to ask those questions doesn't help. Why ask this baby, his grown man, such questions while he is processing what just happened? The announcer should have been heavily reprimanded after this. Why would the announcer ask him those questions? And finally, the voice of reason. You can see the pain in his eyes. The blame goes everywhere except one particular direction, which is fair, I guess, but if you're talking about building generational wealth, you're going to have certain measures of discipline, not only fiscally, but emotionally in your decision making. And more times than not, it's difficult enough for a two-parent family to generate that kind of wealth. But for a one-parent family to get that kind of wealth, not only is it more difficult, but if you have the opportunity to get generational wealth, will you have the emotional stability to handle it? We just saw an example of a family that was on the precipice of it. And because of emotional control not being there, they squandered an opportunity. If you want to see generational wealth, show your children an example of two adults working together, physically responsible, emotionally controlled, making good financial decisions. Raise children that can have a leg up on where you started, and when they get money, they know what it looks like and how to spend it. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care, guys.